Ever wondered what would happen if Earth was pulled closer to the Sun? Not just a little, but enough that we were sitting right where Venus is? It sounds like a scene out of a sci-fi movie, but let's think about it in a simple way. What would it feel like? What would we see? Could we even survive? Venus orbits the Sun at about 108 million kilometers, while Earth is around 150 million kilometers away. That's a gap of 42 million kilometers. That might seem like just a number, but it's a massive difference. Venus receives nearly twice the amount of solar energy that Earth does, about 2613 watts per square meter, compared to Earth's 1361. That extra energy would push Earth into a whole new category of extreme conditions. The most immediate effect would be the temperature. Venus is the hottest planet in our solar system, even hotter than Mercury, which is closer to the Sun. Its surface temperature is about 460 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to melt lead. The reason it's so hot is because of a runaway greenhouse effect caused by its thick carbon dioxide atmosphere. If Earth moved that close to the Sun, we'd be hit with much more solar energy, and we'd start heating up fast. Our oceans would begin to boil. The boiling point of water at sea level is 100 degrees Celsius, but with rising temperatures and atmospheric changes, it would start evaporating quickly. Steam would fill the air, and since water vapor is a greenhouse gas, it would trap even more heat. That would make more water evaporate, and then even more heat would be trapped. It's a vicious cycle that would push Earth into a similar runaway effect. As more steam enters the atmosphere, the sky would start to change. It wouldn't be clear blue anymore. It would become thick, cloudy, and yellowish, like Venus. We wouldn't be able to see the Sun clearly. The clouds might even contain dangerous chemicals, similar to Venus's sulfuric acid clouds. Sunlight would feel harsh, almost like a physical force instead of a warm glow. Breathing would become a serious problem. As temperatures rise and life starts to die off, the balance of gases in our atmosphere would change. Plants that produce oxygen would die. Animals that recycle carbon would vanish. Carbon dioxide levels would increase. Eventually, we'd have a thick, choking atmosphere like Venus. The air would become heavy, hard to breathe, and pressurized. You'd feel like someone was sitting on your chest. Outdoors wouldn't be survivable without full protective gear. Our infrastructure wouldn't stand a chance either. Electronics begin to fail at temperatures above 35 to 45 degrees C. In Venus-like conditions, devices would shut down, plastics would melt, metals would bend or twist, and cars and buildings would fall apart. Solar panels would lose efficiency as they overheated. Power systems would crash. Farming would stop completely. The food chain would collapse. What about underground shelters? Maybe we could live there for a while. But even that would need major new technology. Cooling systems, heat-proof materials, water recycling, artificial light. It would be like building a base on another planet, except we're trying to survive on our own Earth. The cost, time, and complexity would be huge. It wouldn't be available to most people. Only a tiny part of the population could be saved, and even then, not for long. If Earth moved to Venus's orbit, our calendar would change too. A year would become 225 days instead of 365. But more importantly, Earth's spin could be affected by the Sun's stronger gravity. Venus rotates very slowly. One day is longer than its year. If Earth started doing the same, our day-night cycle would be messed up. It could mess with our biological clocks, agriculture, and power use. Seasons might disappear. The world could end up in a constant state of heat. Now let's think about the Moon. Right now, the Moon helps keep Earth's rotation steady and affects tides. But if we moved closer to the Sun, its gravity would pull harder on Earth and the Moon. The Moon's orbit could shift or become unstable. That would change the way tides work. Coastal areas could flood strangely or dry out. Over time, Earth's tilt could become unstable too. This tilt is what gives us seasons. Without it, we'd either have none or unpredictable ones. Radiation would become a major issue. The closer we get to the sun, the more UV rays and solar flares we'd be exposed to. Our magnetic field helps protect us, but even that might not be enough. The ozone layer could break down. We'd be at risk of serious radiation exposure. Skin cancer rates would go up. Electronics would get fried more often. Satellites might stop working. Even simple outdoor activities would be dangerous. And here's the big one. There's no going back. Once a planet falls into a runaway greenhouse effect, it can't cool down again. Venus likely had oceans a long time ago. Some scientists even think it might have been somewhat Earth-like. But once it got too hot, the water evaporated, CO2 took over, and everything spiraled out of control. If Earth followed the same path, we'd be stuck too. There would be no way to reverse the changes.
All of this really shows how perfect Earth's current location is. We're in what scientists call the Goldilocks zone. Not too hot, not too cold. We have liquid water, breathable air, and manageable weather. Moving just 42 million kilometers closer might not sound like a big jump, but it's the difference between a livable planet and a dead one. So next time you think it's too hot or too cold outside, just be glad we're not in Venus's orbit. Earth might not be perfect, but compared to what it could be, it's a miracle.